The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons. This is our monthly Medicare update. The open enrollment period is going to be ending December 7th. There are certain opportunities that you can seize in order to make sure you have a Part C or maybe Part D drug plan that meets your needs. We'll be talking about that and how you can get assistance when we return. It'll be in just a few moments, so stay tuned.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
No one likes to have to ask for help. It's a courageous act.
Sarah Solomon, Energy Share Coordinator.
Our clients work hard, sometimes at 2 or even 3 jobs, but still struggle to keep the heat on. They're doing everything they can. They're proud and they don't give up. I feel inspired and honored to work together with these Montana families.
To donate, call 888-779-7589 or go to EnergyShareMT.com. Energy Share, you can help your neighbor stay warm.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and I mentioned earlier that we'll be talking about the open enrollment period, which will be ending December 7th, which is coming up really quick. Today we want to talk about how important that is and some programs that are available, possibly if you're eligible, and what to consider before now and the end of the year. Rejoining us is our expert on Medicare, Kimmy Everman. Welcome to your show.
Thanks, Brian. Good to be here.
It's great to have you here. You know, now we had an open enrollment period that started October 15th and it ends December 7th.
Right.
And the open enrollment period is pretty important. There's just a little bit of time left. Why is this period important? And if they haven't at least looked at their plans, what should they do?
Well, you know, you're right. We're very short on time, and I'm going to say right at the top, take this number down, 1-800-MEDICARE. That's who you need to call to get your arms around your plan for the next year. Yes. You know, the reason that it's so important, Brian, is that plans can change. Whether you're in a Medicare Advantage plan or Part C, or whether you're in traditional Medicare with a Part D plan for your medication, different companies change plans, companies come and go, companies may not have that plan, they may have some other plan available. And if you don't decide for yourself which direction you want to go, you might find yourself either 1, without a plan at all, or 2, in a plan that does not serve your needs, and you wouldn't have picked it if you would have had a chance.
So possibly the company could move you to another plan that they have, but they may say, nope, you didn't choose, so you don't have a plan. And what is Part C and Part D? If a person were to lose those, what are the ramifications?
Well, your Part C is what we call that one-stop shop, and it's a Medicare Advantage plan or Medicare Health Plan. And it includes all of your Part A and Part B services, and those include hospitalization and major medical as well as outpatient kinds of services. They also include the Part C's these include drug coverage for the most part. A few don't, but most of them do. And then what makes it kind of a little more special is that often they'll have other kinds of benefits available to the person who takes that plan, like maybe there's hearing or maybe there's dental, maybe you can get eyeglasses. So that's why they're called Medicare Advantage in a way, because that you get some advantages, but you still get all of your Medicare health coverages. And here's the thing, that if you lose your Part C, it's not like you lose Medicare. You still have your Medicare, but you go into a traditional model again, which may not suit your needs.
Yeah.
And I want to be real clear that you don't lose your benefits, but you may find yourself in a situation that does not work for you, with not a lot of pathways out of that.
So basically the Part C and the Part D can be provided by private companies,
Right.
and those companies may be here, they may have changed their plans, but as I understand, I think Montana's picked up new providers. We have more people providing services.
I'm sure they have, because these are, and this is a good thing, that these plans are so fluid. Now, the Part D plans are just for medication, so that covers that piece of a person's health care. And the fact that they're fluid means, to me, that the companies are trying to keep up with as much of the new medication also on the market, but also pricing and different things like that that make it competitive in the market and make it better for the consumer. So you want to definitely choose your own in that regard. Now, let's say that you were in a Part D plan, you have traditional Medicare, you really like your Part D plan, so you decide you're not going to do anything. Well, a couple of things might happen. 3 things, I guess. One, on January 1st, you might have the same. If the company still carries it, or sells it, they may give you that same product. It might be more expensive, or it might be the same. We don't know. Number 2, maybe they don't have that product anymore, and they put you into a different plan that you didn't look at before to see if it had all your medications. Or number 3, maybe you don't have a plan and you've just kind of been bounced back to Medicare, the traditional. And no, we don't want anyone in that position. Absolutely not. Not even worrying about it.
We want you to choose the plan. Now, Kimmy, when we talk about plans, there's a lot of plans out there, and time's drawing near, December 7th. There's actually a plan finder, and it's at a website. And you put in your information, and if you have Medicare, you probably already have a sign up. They know the drugs you're on and everything. But they can narrow down your plans,
Exactly. You call 1-800-MEDICARE. If you feel you can do it on your own, you go to Medicare.gov and you use that plan finder. It has all the information that you just went over. Very, very easy to use. Once you've done it a couple of times, it's not very difficult, and it can show you plans that seem to work the best for you based on the information that's in there about you.
And then you can also plan for the next year, in that maybe you need a surgery, or you know something will be happening. How can you choose a plan that will best meet your needs?
Exactly. That's exactly right. So can't say enough. Get to the 1-800-MEDICARE number if you haven't yet. You can follow up later with a local SHIP counselor and make that connection. But right now, we just want to get you signed up.
Get you signed up and to help you with a plan that will best meet your needs. Now, it's important to know that our SHIP people, the 800 Medicare, they don't have a plan to sell you. They'll help you decide from the different companies and the different plans with each company, which might best meet your particular circumstances for your medical needs going into 2021. Hopefully it'll be a good year. But it's important to know that there is help out there. They're there to assist, and we'll talk about more about that and some different programs in our next segment, which will come up in just a moment.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Montanans are independent. We're also responsible, protective, and committed to our families and communities. That's why we've done so well against COVID-19. As we open up, we've got to keep doing what we do best. And it starts with each and every one of us, protecting public health in the 406 for our families, friends, and neighbors. We all have to do our part. Montanans get that. And we've got this.
I was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're continuing our discussion about Medicare. Open enrollment is ending December 7th. That's coming up quite quickly. And after the enrollment period, there'll be some people that are out there. They're going to evaluate Medicare for Montanans. It's a Medicare survey, Kimmy. Tell us more about this survey and why it's important.
Well, it's actually even more than just the Medicare. It's about your services from your SHIP counselor. And it's a chance to let the surveyor know whether you had a great experience, a not so great experience, whether you got what you needed, that kind of thing. And it gives then the SHIP program some great sort of feedback so that they can go forward in the future. And so we really would hope that people, and I always say good or bad, because we want to grow from whatever happens or whatever is said. So we really want people to help us with that. And we mention it because we tell people all the time, don't talk to these folks that call you up. But then when they're real, we want to make sure you know. So they are real, but they won't ask for your Medicare number or your birth date or any of that stuff.
Or any money.
No, or any money or a credit card number or Social Security number. They're not going to ask for any of that, and if they do, then it isn't real.
Right.
And you should just hang up. But these folks will be calling in a survey way after open enrollment ends just to get some feedback for the SHIP program.
Okay, so ideally an individual had used a SHIP counselor, and this is a customer service survey, basically.
Yep.
There'll probably be a letter going out prior to their calling, so you'll get that. So then you can answer the question, so we can provide services better to you.
Exactly.
Right?
Because we always want to, it's always great to hear you did a good job, but it's also great to hear places where you can shore up.
Right.
Because we all want to.
Yeah.
So.
And as customers, they probably have questions that maybe we haven't anticipated.
Certainly.
How can we do things better?
Certainly.
Well, now, Kim, we've quickly after December 7th, we've signed up for our plans. Plan's been chosen for us, or a plan dropped us if we didn't do anything. But by the end of the year, if you think that you signed up for a different plan, you wanted different benefits, or maybe there was a mistake, what can a person do?
Well, Brian, I think, first of all, I want to say that luckily this isn't a huge problem. So I don't want folks to think it's just going to automatically happen, that it's not going to go right.
Yeah.
But we want to know what to do if something doesn't turn out the way we expected it to turn out. Now, I'm going to first of all suggest that between December 7th and the 1st of the year, for January 1st, there's a 3-week period where we will hope that the company will send you whatever information you need, cards, whatever they've sent you.
Benefit book.
Benefit book, exactly. And if it's the same company, what they've sent you in the past, only updated. So we hope that happens in the first 3 weeks. January 1st is when everything rolls over and starts new. So if you've gone from one plan to a completely different one, that's when your benefit with that new one begins in earnest, and you really do need your card and things if you're going to go to the pharmacy. Okay, so I think what people really need to do is give it a chance to work in those first 3 weeks, and then if you're getting into January and you haven't received, call the company. In fact, back up and call them earlier than that even, if you are feeling that they're not being responsive. And then, if you're not getting any success with that, call a SHIP counselor, and they'll see if they can help you.
Yep. And I've been on Medicare for a while now. You go down to the pharmacy, you got your new prescription drug card number. Like, no, it's at home.
Exactly.
Okay, you don't have a plan then, basically. So you give us the number. So take your new numbers, give them to your providers, not to someone on the phone that's just calling in. See what's happening. But now, is there a special open enrollment period, and how does that affect the person who has maybe chosen a plan and maybe wants to change it? Is that a possibility?
Sure it is, and this is one of the best ones, is that you can see if you're eligible for any of the helping programs. And we've talked about those many times on this show, the low-income subsidy for the Part D plans, the MSP, which is the Medicare Savings Program for Part B premiums and such. We have Big Sky RX. So these are all benefits that if you are newly eligible for them, that gives you a special enrollment period. So if you want to change your plan outside of the enrollment year and you become eligible for a special or one of those helping programs, you get a special enrollment period.
And how do people find out about those programs? I mean, it's like, you don't apply for one and you get turned down and think you're denied by the rest of them. Different eligibility requirements.
Exactly, and I always say, talk to your local SHIP counselor. I'm sure we can put their number on the screen, and ask them for their assistance in getting you the paperwork, and if you need it to help complete that paperwork, because you're right, everybody's different. Just because you were found not eligible for one thing means nothing.
Or in 1 year, if your circumstances have changed, because life's dynamic.
Indeed.
Things keep changing.
Yes.
Well, and for our viewers, we're drawing to a close on this segment also. But we were talking about the December 7th deadline in order to enroll for Medicare Part C and D plans, which the generalized are offered through private companies. You need to decide whether you want your plan, want a new plan. If you don't decide, will the company decide? Is the company around? Will they give you a new one of their plans, or are you unenrolled from one of those plans? The people at 1-800-MEDICARE can help you up till December 7th, but we're going to have some people that will be surveying. They'll be calling you up and asking your experience with a SHIP counselor if you utilized one of those individuals. And we have a lot of great information. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I have so many questions about power of attorney.
Well, some powers of attorney are for finances and others are for healthcare decisions.
A power of attorney designates an agent who would make decisions on your behalf.
While making a power of attorney, you have the ability to control your agent's power.
You also have the ability to decide when that POA would take effect.
Wait, am I giving away all my rights?
Power of attorney isn't a license to make any decision for you, just those that you've specified.
Your agent should be somebody that's working in your best interest, but it should also be somebody that you would trust.
What if they try to abuse their power?
Protective measures like third-party accounting, secondary signatures, defined spending and gifting limits can help protect against financial exploitation. An agent's powers can always be limited by a customized power of attorney, and they can be revoked by you or the court if the power of attorney is abused.
So carefully drafted estate planning documents can help ensure that your finances are monitored but not abused.
If you or someone you know is being exploited, please report to Aging Services Bureau at 844-277-9300 or the Legal Service Developer at 1-800-332-2272. This message sponsored by the DPHHS Aging Service Bureau.
Providing long-term care for someone in need is a labor of love, but it is a labor. Time apart is healthy and necessary both for the caregiver and the person receiving care. It allows each a respite, time to relax and recharge. If you're a long-term caregiver, visit the new Lifespan Respite website. Financial assistance may be available. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, when my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're continuing our discussion about the Medicare enrollment periods. There's several of them that are coming up. The biggest one is by December 7th, if you can choose your plan or confirm the plan that you have. But now, Kimmy, we're in the age of COVID, and how does COVID influence an individual signing up for Medicare? Is there some special circumstances?
There are, and the special circumstances consist of, this is the language that we have gotten, is they will look at your case individually, case-by-case basis, to decide whether or not you should be granted a special enrollment period due to a COVID type of effect. Okay, so what that means to me is this: if for some reason you don't have a chance to get your enrollment done by the 7th, and you feel that it has something to do with the pandemic and COVID, and you know what, this is not a case, but this is what I would guess. I don't have internet, I don't have a phone, I don't have a car, things that like that might make it so that you couldn't get to where you needed to get that plan set up. And then you talk to the folks at 1-800-Medicare. And this is the one time I'll say don't call the SHIP counselors. Right. Because the SHIP counselors cannot make the decision. They don't have that authority. You got to talk to 1-800-Medicare. And you tell them whatever the situation, and then you hope for the best. And I don't have any anecdotal information even on it, because this is really the first time we've seen this, obviously. But I do want people to know that it may feel like it's an empty gesture, but if you have a reason, call and reach out and talk to those folks and see if something can be done.
See if that can be done, because COVID's unique and how it's affecting the program's unique, and I imagine there's some processes that are still ongoing with that.
And as an older person myself, I know I don't drive anywhere hardly at all. I don't go anywhere hardly at all. I'm lucky to have phone and internet, but that isn't true for every single Montana citizen. So I think instead of just thinking, I guess I just don't have any chance, call them.
Call them. And if you have COVID, that's probably a pretty good excuse starting.
I will hope so, yeah.
There's a lot of people like that. But now, Kimmy, let's go back over our helping programs. Programs are designed to help the individuals pay some of their premiums. And what do you want our viewers to know about them?
Well, that they're there, that it is not a handout, it's a hand up. It's you know, it's possible through the tax money that you have paid all your life as a worker, and we want people to know that we don't want it to be a choice between heat or medicine. Food or going to the doctor.
Yeah.
It just cannot be that way. So the first one I want to talk about is the Medicare Savings Program. That pays for the Part B premium. So the B is your outpatient coverage, and it can pay for premiums and sometimes some other out-of-pocket expenses, depending on where you fall in the eligibility. And there's a sort of a continuum for the eligibility, and one end gets more of the benefits than the other end, depending on what you make. But it is so helpful, and you may, I mean, I've seen TV commercials about this recently for Medicare folks saying, would you like another $148 in your checking account? Well, that's what they're talking about. And that would put $148 or whatever the B is back in your checking account every month for you to pay for other things. So it's a really good helping program, and it'll give you a special enrollment period to your Part D. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we also have the low income subsidy, and that is just for the Part D, and it will pay some premiums and some out-of-pocket expenses, again on a continuum. Very, very good program. And then we also have Big Sky RX in Montana, and Big Sky RX, I really like it because they don't count assets and resources. So people that make a little bit more money, who aren't usually eligible for programs that help, can get that.
Get that, yeah.
And then, you know, finally, there's just Medicare and Medicaid. And if you may be a dual person, and you know, if you're looking for what your benefits are, talk to a SHIP counselor.
And it's important to note that there's not an enrollment period for those. Your circumstances change during the year. You can become eligible, and the SHIP person with the 800 number is a person to talk to. But now, Kimmy, you know, we are also coming up to something that we call a general enrollment. It's your one final chance to sign up, but tell us quickly the conditions for that.
Okay. So the general Medicare enrollment runs from January 1st to March 31st. And it's really, if you have never signed up before or have had some issues, and then your benefits actually begin the 1st of July of that year. If you're signing up during a general enrollment period because you haven't enrolled when you were eligible, you are likely looking at a penalty.
You're getting some penalties, but on the other hand, you are getting the benefits of the program, and the longer you wait,
the worse it gets. And you know what? I'm going to just say one more time: the SHIP counselors, they can't make miracles happen, but they are so good at finding out how to get through these mazes.
You know, as we get older, we become eligible for Medicare. We have questions, and it's good to have those people to assist us. Well, Kimmy, we've quickly drawn to the close on the show. I'd like to thank you so much for your information and knowledge on these topics. You know, and for our viewers, again, a quick recap: December 7th is the end of open enrollment period. You can go to the 1-800-MEDICARE telephone number to get some assistance if you need to, or there's Medicare.gov to go to and see the plan finder to help you choose some plans. And you might want to pull in a loved one, maybe a professional that's near and dear to your heart, to help you make those choices. But we're here. We want to help you. For Aging Horizons, I'm Brian Lamore. Thank you for joining us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.